What's going on, YouTube? JT's Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Teen Titans Academy number 2. So, if you remember last month, I talked about the first issue of Teen Titans Academy. I thought it was a really over-bloated mess of a first issue. It didn't really have much focus. There wasn't any real foundation. It tried to throw way too much stuff at you, way too many characters, not really enough time to give like a sense to care about them. But in the little bit I got, I found myself disliking every single one of them. And that's not something you want to have happen in your first big issue. And again, I think the concept of a Teen Titans Academy is great, but you really need to build a strong foundation before you go into it. Here, they're throwing all these kids at you. There's this whole mystery of who Red X is. And again, Red X only really worked in the original Teen Titans. You had that small roster of characters you already knew. And there's kind of this mystery going on there. And again, this has a mystery too, but if it's one of the new original characters, I just don't care. And it's like, oh, it might be this character in Matt, or it might be this other character. I'm like, I don't know much about these kids. And again, there's so many of them kind of thrown into here. Then you have the old Titans, and you have Damien's previous team of Teen Titans who don't have any real role in this thing. There's too many characters. You really needed to kind of split this book off into 2, maybe 3 things, and just kind of keep some of the other characters out of it. Because with so many characters, some are just not going to get proper development. They're just get lost in the shuffle. It tries to do way too much. Plus, there's some like serious writing concerns that I have, or at least some story things. They're just going to kind of annoy me. So, anyways, as the issue opens up, we have one of the new characters. I believe her name's Linta, and or goes by Bolt, getting confronted by Red X. Again, Red X is a big factor into this thing, and we'll get into more Red X as the issue goes on. Again, I like Red X in the Teen Titans cartoon, but here I'm just not as excited about Red X. And again, a lot of the stuff just kind of feels thrown in there, like Dick Grayson, like, oh, I was Red X before. I'm like, no, you weren't. You've never been Red X in the comics, only in that TV show. But the comic book acts like the TV show kind of happened beforehand. And again, if there's this whole big deal about Nightwing being Red X before, why is it only a factor in now? You see what I mean? It just kind of feels tacked on and a bit forced. So there we go. We have that going on there. We also see her get her name. And again, she is a speedster who's got prosthetic limbs, which I think is kind of cool. I think that's kind of neat. It just adds a new element to the whole the speedster thing. I think that's kind of original. So I like that aspect to it. So again, there's some decent looking artwork in the background. We have all these characters here. There's that character of Tubi. You got Roundhouse in there. You got Crush. You got that guy there. You have Raven just kind of standing around wondering why I'm in this book. Beast Boy's just kind of hanging out. Another character, Matt, who's just kind of playing almost like chess, but he calls it Arima, playing it by himself. It's just, there's just too many characters in this thing. Again, we have Cyborg talking to him. He's talking about being like not knowing exactly who he was. Doesn't really know exactly his backstory. I woke up in a med bay of the USS Eisenhower. Captain said I fell out of the sky. I was lucky they were there to fish me out of the Atlantic and save my life. So he doesn't really know who he is. He mostly just kind of keeps to himself. Cyborg's trying to be there and be kind of encouraging to him. Then we get to the worst part of the issue, which is this whole Starfire and Nightwing thing going on here. Now, this book's, I don't know when this takes place, but it's going on simultaneously a little bit past the current stuff in the Nightwing book. The Nightwing book by Tom Taylor, that's a great book. That's a really, really good book going on here. And in that book, they seem to be building a foundation between Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon of a relationship going on there. But Teen Titans Academy is just like, screw all that. We're just going to throw Nightwing and Starfire at you again without really kind of setting it up. Because remember, in the Nightwing book, before all this stuff, Nightwing was with a girl named Bia when he was Rick Grayson. And then he slowly got his memories back. And now he was just kind of going off on his own. And then maybe he'll slowly work back into the whole relationship thing. Teen Titans Academy has no foundation at all. It brushes over all that. And now him and Starfire just seem to be kind of banging constantly. There was no build-up. There was no reunion that really set them together. And again, Dark Knight's Death Metal had Dick and Barbara seemingly get married, and now he's back here. Is he like hooking up with both of them at the same time? Because even then, like all it is for them really seems to be sex. And Starfire is just so clingy in this thing, and it's just kind of annoying. So he's kind of upset about his mask going missing, and then she's wondering like, what is it that really troubles you? And he's like, Barbara called, and she's like, oh, I see. No, it isn't. It's Bloodhaven. I think I'm going to need to spend more time there with her. God damn it, I hate this shit. Are we really getting a fucking love triangle with this thing? As if you have another reason to just kind of dislike this thing anymore. And again, Nightwing book, slowly building things up and building to something meaningful. Teen Titans Academy, when it comes to this thing, it's just kind of already thrown together, and it just adds needless drama. It does a disservice to both Barbara and Corey, especially Starfire, because all it is here, it just makes it seem like it just makes Starfire seem to be really clingy, really jealous of Barbara, when it just doesn't feel right with her character. Like, is this all she really is? Is this all she really wants? Is just Nightwing as kind of like, is that her entire character? Is there any more to her, or is it just all about hooking up with Nightwing and just being jealous? And again, he's always got to do both. And he's like, I have no doubt about that. And she sighs and she just seems upset. He's like, oh, he's going to go spend time with Barbara. The nerve of this guy. And I'm like, oh my God, that's just, I hate this. I'm sorry. I really hate that stuff. Then we have the other characters talking about like switching rooms together. Another gripe I kind of have is when panels do this. Again, this is the full page right here. But if you go to this spot right here, look how much goddamn text is crammed onto a single page right here. And again, it covers up like most of the art. Like the majority of this is just text. I feel like if you're going to do something like this, at least switch up the angles a little bit. Don't condense it down so much. It's kind of distracting. It's like Bendis writing going on there. I feel like it's like, okay, we're going to throw all this into it. And again, it kind of goes to the thing of shoving a little bit too much into the issue. So we also have Dick Grayson kind of talking about the thing with Red X, and he's got like some concern here. I know you have class, but I think I might be screwing things up with Corey. So wait, are you with Starfire now? When did this happen? What about the Nightwing book? What's going on there? And again, they're kind of talking about the whole thing. Then they bring up this going on here. He's like, yep, so what happened with you and Corey? Is it Barbara? It's always Barbara. Oh, Jesus. Are we really trying to do this whole thing? Nightwing, Starfire, Barbara Gordon? I can't stomach it. I really can't stomach this love triangle stuff. I hate love triangles. I can't stand them. I find them really obnoxious, and media, I feel like it's like, pick someone already, damn it. I'm tired of this. What about him and her? What about her and him? I hate love triangles. I've always disliked them. Maybe I can't think of a single example where it's really kind of worked to make it fun or anything like that, unless it's like a goofy comedy type version of it. Like if you ever see the movie Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, like that's one example where I thought it kind of well, it's not really even a love triangle. It's kind of just two guys just trying to like outwit each other for something. It's more of a dirty you know what, forget what I just said there. It's love triangles just don't work in general for me. I was trying to think of an example of just like three characters or whatever, but it just annoys me. So we also have Red X in there. He's kind of stealing information. Nightwing kind of goes after him. He escapes. Donna Troy's in there for a second, does pretty much nothing. And then Red X is off to his own thing. Then we have the character going on here. They're going to get a little assembly and try and question everybody. And again, all these characters here who have pretty much no role at all. Emiko Queen, God, I feel sorry for you. You're one of my favorites in Green Arrow Rebirth, and you're just doing nothing. And then we find out that the character of Bolt seems to be working with Amanda Waller, who kind of like implanted her into whole Titans Academy thing right there. So we have that going on there. And then we have just kind of some distrust going on there. They're going to have this whole assembly and get everybody's attention. She mistrusts Matt about this whole thing. And yeah, so we got that going on there. And then we have Red X kind of at the end, and we're setting up a thing with the Suicide Squad. So again, we have more characters being thrown into here. We're getting shoved in with the Suicide Squad book, which I haven't been reading because I don't really have interest. And that was Teen Titans Academy number 2. So yeah, it is a slight improvement over the first issue, but again, too much going on. Are we really doing the stupid love triangle shit with Nightwing, Starfire, and Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, or Oracle, or whatever she's going by? I wish DC would just pick a lane already and just stick with it. Let Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown be Batgirl already. Let Barbara Gordon stick as Oracle, and you'll be good. So, again, I'm not really too big a fan of this whole thing. Artwork is fine for the most part. I feel like some of it gets kind of like, some of it looks good, like Red X and that. Some other bits are just kind of all right. I think the overcrowding of text kind of like distracts from the artwork a little bit. I think it's a little bit too much on some pages. And again, this is kind of a thing of just throwing too much at you at once. I want to like this book. I think it's a great concept, but I really want it to take its time. I really want it to take its time, and I really want to care, but I really don't think this is going to work out because you got just too much you're throwing at us early on, not really taking its time, establishing these characters fully. I just think this is going to be an overall mess as this book continues. Maybe that'll change. Maybe it'll start to get really good, but I can't be certain. So Yep, that's all I got to say about Teen Titans Academy number 2. What did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications, like this video, share with your friends, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. Come back tomorrow as I'll be talking about the newest issue of Detective Comics, whatever that may be. I can't remember off the top of my head. And as always, thank you all so much for watching this. Take care now. Bye-bye then, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.